Hi guys, I've been up in my loft and I'm trying to clear out some of my old projects. This was a rubber band powered car with bamboo canes, flower canes. That's the main body, and LPs, that's the back wheels, and a fiberglass tube, that's the back axle, hot glued in place. That's the axle tubes. I've got bent paper clips around there, curled around it to give it free running. And then in the middle, we've got a peg, and then we've beefed it up a little bit with some tape around it to make it thicker, to give it more leverage to actually turn the wheels, because they're very big wheels. Anyway, I also have a more recent model there, or rubber band powered car there. Again, fiberglass rods, 3D printed wheels, 3D printed axle tubes and brackets, whatever you want to call it. The front wheels have been broken in storage, so what I'm going to do is use those as the back wheels now. These as the front wheels. Then I've 3D printed that, which is the same size holes for the fiberglass rods to go in. And the idea of that is that should fit over the axle without me having to unglue it, unglue the LPs. So that'll be our back axle, and then there's holes through there. Can you see that? Out of focus, yeah. Holes through there just to stop the axle bouncing out. We'll put a couple of pegs across. Right, I'll trim that up because that's printed with brim, which is this little bit that goes all the way around the outside. And we'll put it together and see if it works. Two little wooden pegs across there to stop it dropping off the, whatever we want to call this, yoke. I'm quite surprised. I've wrapped the rubber band round there. It's only these thin ones. I was expecting to need to wrap them round the thicker bit to give it more leverage, but I'm actually having to hold this back. It's actually going straight away. So in that case, we'll let it go. Well, that's quite impressive. That works better than I expected. And because we've got such large wheels, we've hardly used any of the rubber band turns to actually get it to do the full distance. So this potentially could go quite a long way. Yeah, that's interesting. So, 2 LPs for the back wheels, fiberglass rods for the chassis, fiberglass rod for the front axle, and a thicker fiberglass tube for the back axle. Be links in the video description to the original build. If I can find the files for that one, I'll actually include them after this clip so you can see it all in one go. Hi guys, I'm going to do another junk pile project. I'm actually doing some work on my old PC, and before I can do anything it wants to do dozens of updates because I haven't used it for such a long time. So while I'm sitting here waiting for it to do that, it's up to update 8 of 16 at the moment. I thought I might do a little conversion to this car. It's a gravity powered car I did the other day. I'll put a link in the video description. It's a couple of old vinyl LPs, long playing records, with an axle and a little toothpick in the middle there to hook the rubber in this case it wasn't a rubber band, it was the lead weight. But I'm going to do a simple conversion to that to make it into a rubber band powered car. I've got a couple of CDs there that have been used on another car. Got a barbecue skewer axle and a couple of bottle tops on each wheel. That's the hubs. I've got a couple of bamboo garden canes there that are about, what's that, about 20 inches long, 18 inches. So I'm going to put them on there, and at the other end put a little axle for those wheels. There we go, that's the general idea. So it's wrapped around the axle and also wrapped around the cane, and then I'll put some hot glue on it to hold it all together. That's the wire loops hot glued onto the end of the flower canes. Down in the kitchen to give it a test run. I'll just run over the details again before we test it. So at the back end we've got this gravity powered car that I made the other day. So have a look in the video description, there'll be a link to it. It's just a couple of vinyl long playing records with an axle straight through the middle. That's some sort of fiberglass tube actually. It comes from a garden windmill. Just a cheap toy from the bargain store. In the middle it's got a little toothpick drilled into a little hole there so we can hook the rubber band on. The changes I've made, I've wrapped some wire around the axle to give us axle bearings. Those bits of wire are just hot glued onto the back of these flower canes that come from garden centre. They're about, I would guess, about 20 inches long. At the front end they're hot glued onto another tube. I think that one's actually plastic. In fact that might even be a felt tip pen tube or something like that. Front wheels are CDs with plastic bottle tops for the hubs in the middle, and the axle is a good old barbecue skewer. There's another barbecue skewer there, just hot glued onto the canes to stop them spreading apart or coming together, so that they're free to move at the back there but not too far. And then the rubber band, I've wrapped another bit of wire around the front there in a sort of an S shape so that we can hook the rubber band on it. And then it's got some, this is actually kite string I've used, I think it's terylene or nylon or something like that, and that's just the right length to reach back there and hook onto the peg. We can just wind it up. As we're winding that up, it's stretching the rubber band. Not too easy to do this with one hand. You can see the rubber band is being stretched. So what I'll do is I'll go back in my hallway so we can give it a run the full length of the house, as long as we don't hit the doorway on the way through, which is what usually happens. Right, we're actually outside the front door. There's the car. I'll try and line it up so it goes all the way through. See, what usually happens is I hit the door or something on the way through, but let's see how we do. And there we go. So that was the full length of my hallway, kitchen and conservatory. Can't quite remember how long that is. I think it's 3 metres here, 5 metres there, another 4 metres out there, 8, about 12 metres altogether. And there's still a little bit of tension left there, so we could have gone a bit further. That rubber band is actually slightly smaller than a size 64, so we could have gone a bit further if we wanted. Anyway, job done.